Hello good people, I'm going to solve these trigonometry problems. I suggest you pause the video and try doing them yourself first. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is write SOHCAHTOA. That way I have all of the trigonometric functions right in front of me. Okay, so now let's look at the triangle on the right. I have been given an angle, I have been given a length of a side, and I need to find the length of another side. It is good practice to label the sides of the triangle with respect to the angle given. So with respect to this 32-degree angle, this side on top, this is the adjacent. The side opposite the angle, the one that is currently labeled x, well, that is the opposite. And the longest side of the triangle, that is the hypotenuse. The next step is to decide which trigonometric function should be used. I need to find the opposite, and I have been given the hypotenuse. This means that I need to use the trigonometric function that uses these two sides. If I look at SOHCAHTOA, I can see that sine uses the opposite and the hypotenuse. So that means sine is the trigonometric function I need to use. It is good practice to write out the formula of the trigonometric function you're going to use. So in this case, I'm going to use sine. The formula is sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. In this case, the angle has been given as 32 degrees. So I can write sine of 32 degrees equals opposite. Well, opposite is the unknown, so that is my x over the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse has been given as 16.3 meters. And now I need to solve for x. Currently, I am dividing x by 16.3 meters. This means that I need to transpose it, and I will do that by multiplying both sides by 16.3 meters. So on the left, I will have 16.3 meters multiplied by sine of 32 degrees equals x. And now I'm going to use my calculator. So I have 16.3 multiplied by sine 32. And that gives me 8.6376. I'm going to round it to 8.6377. So I said 8.6377, do not forget the units, it's meters, equals x. The question now becomes, how should I round this value? Well, I have two measured quantities. I have 16.3 meters and I have 32 degrees. My result should only have as many significant figures as the measured quantity with the least number of significant figures. In this case, that means 2. So this 8.6377 becomes 8.6 meters equals x. All right, let's look at the middle triangle. Once again, I'm going to label the sides of the triangle with respect to the angle given. So with respect to 21.5 degrees, the side labeled x is the adjacent. The side opposite, well, that is the opposite. And the longest side, well, that is the hypotenuse. In this case, I need to find the adjacent, and I have been given the hypotenuse. This means that I need to use the trigonometric function that uses these two sides. And in this case, that is cosine, because cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse. As before, I'm going to write the general formula for cosine. So cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. In this case, the angle is 21.5 degrees. So I can write cosine of 21.5 degrees equals x, the adjacent, over the hypotenuse, which is 7.23 centimeters. I need to solve for x, which means x needs to stand on its own, which in turn means that I need to transpose this 7.23 centimeters. And I'm going to do that by multiplying both sides by 7.23 centimeters. On the left, I will have 7.23 centimeters multiplied by cos of 21.5 degrees equals x. Once again, I'm going to use my calculator. 7.23 multiplied by cos 21.5, and I get 6.7269. How should I round this value? Well, both of the measured quantities have 3 significant figures, so the result should be rounded to 3 significant figures too. So this would become, and I need to slide down a little bit, 6.73 meters. All right, let's look at the last triangle. So this time I need to find the angle. However, just like before, I'm going to label the sides of the triangle with respect to the angle given. This time the angle given is alpha. The side opposite angle alpha is opposite. The side that the angle sits on, well, that is the adjacent. And the longest side, well, that is the hypotenuse. So in this case, I have been given the adjacent and the opposite. That means that I need to use the trigonometric function that uses these two sides. And that happens to be tangent. Tangent uses opposite and adjacent. Again, I'm going to write out the general formula for tangent. Tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. In this case, the angle is alpha. So I'm going to write tan alpha equals opposite, which is 7.25 meters, over the adjacent, which is 5.9 meters. In order to solve for alpha, I need to transpose the tan. I need to take the inverse of tan. Again, this is a case of calculator to the rescue. In order to do an inverse of a trigonometric function, I need to press Shift and then the trigonometric function of choice, in this case tan. So now I have this tan raised to the power of -1. That is the symbol to indicate the inverse of tan. And now I can enter the fraction on the right. 7.25 divided by 5.9. And I get 50.86 degrees. So alpha equals 50.86 degrees. How should I round this value? Well, I need to do the same analysis I did before. I have two measured quantities. One of them has 2 significant figures, the other one has 3. My result can only have as many significant figures as the measured quantity with the least number of significant figures. In this case, that means 2. So the value of the angle needs to be rounded to 2 significant figures, which means I can say that alpha equals 51 degrees. In summary, when solving these types of questions, label the sides of the triangle with respect to the angle given. And then, based on the sides you have, decide which trigonometric function to use. If you have the opposite and the hypotenuse, you will use sine. If you have the adjacent and the hypotenuse, you will use cosine. And if you have the opposite and the adjacent, you will use tangent. That is all for now, and I will see you on the flip side.